I will not take this with a grain of salt. It's a preseason. Usually they say, don't, you just take it with a grain of salt. Doesn't mean that, bogus, 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 bogus. No salt. Low sodium diet. I will have a 120/80 blood pressure this entire preseason because they did some good things in the game today. Let's watch the Texans scoring drive. And I just want to I want to answer some of the questions that I've had since this entire offseason and on into training camp. And some of the things that you're going to see here, the Texans have done the last couple of weeks, either in practice or in the first preseason game. But it was nice to see C.J. Stroud and a bunch of the starters out there doing it. First, quick passing game. Boom! No hesitation. Get rid of the ball. Christian Kirk, exactly where he needs to be. Really easy job for them. Make it easier for the offensive line. Hey, how about the run game? Just take a look at the imaginary blue line right there. The imaginary blue line for the Texans offensive line previously looked like it was an invisible force field beyond which they could not pass. They've blown through the invisible force field. You've got every offensive lineman, except for one there at the bottom, across the line of scrimmage. You've got Cade Stover blocking up. Oh, no, is that Cade Stover? It's Cade Stover blocking up top there. And, I mean, before there's any contact at all, you've got Nick Chubb. We'll talk about him as this goes along as well, past the first down marker. Screen game. Remember last year when you guys were advocating a ban of wide receiver screens? How do you feel about it now? First thing I look for on screens. On the initial viewing of it, I thought for sure there were three guys past the line of scrimmage because I didn't think there was I didn't know it was possible for offensive linemen to all be out there within a yard of the line of scrimmage. Don't worry about that's a wide receiver up there at the top. He's allowed to be past the line of scrimmage and just a uniform wall moving forward. If we get the replay on this, look, Laken Tomlinson, number 75, right there in the middle of those offensive linemen. Watch him. Blocks one, works up, blocks a second off of them, block two guys on one play. One of my favorite things to watch anybody do. Last year, on average, the Texans blocked 0.3 defenders across the entire offense on screens. Pass, CJ steps up in the pocket, hits Jaden Higgins. They're still working on forming their connection. You know, ideally that would have been either he would have extended. It looked like he might have slowed down a little bit as he was working towards the sideline, whereas C.J. Stroud is used to the Tank Dell speed on those out routes. But I want you to watch Jaden Higgins, and with a little bit of nuance, hits a little hezzy there. Nice. Very, very nice. Very nice. And he's got length. He's got good hands. That shows up. So his connection with Jaden Higgins. There we go. You'd love to see him be able to turn that up. Okay, ball comes out very quick here. You get it to the running back. I've been asking CJ and the offense to just don't consider it a check down. Think of it as, no, it's a valuable part of your passing offense. Watch the pass protection here. We might run this back a little bit. CJ knows where he can find some space, gets around, and hits Laken Tomlinson. The one thing about this is Higgins there, when you see when CJ is first looking, the ball's designed to come out quickly here. So you got 81 over there on the left. CJ's looking at him. If you look to the right, Blake Fisher is cut blocking that defensive end. So the ball's gonna come out quick. That's what you do when it's designed to come out quick. And CJ does have multiple options here, but Higgins doesn't get his eyes around quite quickly enough. But CJ does a really good job of maneuvering in the pocket, getting it off to the running back. 2nd and 6, first down. This one, oh, no, not a first down. Watch the fullback. Okay, watch the fullback, but first look down at the bottom. See Blake Fisher? Blake Fisher has got, he's blocking that one defensive lineman. The other outside backer folds around behind him. And Fisher dispatches the defensive lineman. And then a problem that we very rarely had last year, Fisher goes to block and seal off that defensive end. And Jakob's trying to figure out what to do with him. But so you end up just mauling the dude, and Fisher works back. I mean, it was great improvisational stuff there by Fisher. I think Fisher was pretty solid on the day. 3rd and 1. Oh, and this wasn't as impressive or imposing by the offensive line, but except that, look, he had a hole, an actual hole to run through. You see that? There was daylight. And then this is where the strength, even if Chubb doesn't have the same explosiveness that I think he's still working back towards getting, just the strength to be able to bulldoze through that. He's got vision. He's got strength. He just needs blocking in front of him. Again, positive yardage. Even on this one, it's not – boy, but look at the line of scrimmage being displaced. down there where it's compressed and it gets harder to run the ball. This was the squirrel scramble where CJ had everybody covered up in the end zone. And I know a lot of people were saying, hey, he's got a clean pocket. Why is he scrambling? Hit by the truck. If you look downfield, he really didn't have anywhere to go with the ball by the time he pulled it down. And I don't think he had a clear line of sight to anybody. So he started scrambling, I think, to make something happen. And I'm cool with that. 3rd and goal. And, boy, would have had a Gumbawale, but for the outstretched paw of a defensive lineman. If anything, I'll criticize the offensive line did too good a job pass blocking to where defensive linemen are stuck on the line and just turn into, wannabe J.J. Watts. So the pass blocking giveth, the pass blocking taketh away. And here, of course, we have Tanico Collins, like clockwork. Look at this. Route combination, spacing, everything executed the way it's supposed to be executed. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do with myself in all of this clean execution. I feel first and foremost good about how clean the execution has been, how quick CJ has been with his decisions. Think of that first series when CJ didn't connect with Nico on what could have been a touchdown. It was twofold. One was he and Nico, clearly weren't on the same page. I think CJ was trying to throw it down the sideline. Nico was staying right on the red line there, with 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. But even if in trying to throw to the sideline, watching from above, it looked like the ball. It was if Nico had caught it where he would have had to catch it, it was going to have to be a toe tapper with no run after the catch. So a little bit of not being on the same page, but then also perhaps CJ inaccuracy right there. So couple little hiccups here and there, but all in all, it just looks like so much better of an offensive scheme. Offensive execution, the running backs and pass protection are really good. There was a good running back pass protection one on there that I don't think I pointed out at the time because I'm just so damn excited on my new 0 grains of salt diet that I'm on here. Brandon says that tip really caught everyone off guard. All thought it was about to be a Dare touchdown. Myself included, man. Myself included. I'm just happy we got rid of that worthless deadweight Tunsil. Okay, listen, I'm not here to bash on Tunsil, but I will say the most promising development so far in these first 2 weeks of camp, and I've got a little tidbit to tell you, has just been that the offense looks more like they're in the mold of D'Amico Ryans. And at the joint practice, D'Amico spent all his time with the offense. He's trying to really make that transition that all young coaches go through when you've got to set aside your area of expertise and become the master of your entire domain. You're not farming it out to an offensive coordinator because I'm a defensive guy. I think D'Amico's done a brilliant job of that. The thing that's hurting the Texans most these last couple of years has been the offense is not nearly as swarm-like as the defense. They show a lot more swarm traits right now. Laremy Tunsil's an awesome pass protector. As a run defender, he was reluctantly okay, is how it always appeared. He didn't have the passion for it. I don't think you're allowed to be on this offensive line or in the tight end group or on the wide receiver core unless you have a passion for blocking. So that's really good to see. That's something that carries through. And in the locker room, I was talking to a defensive player who I don't think would want me to put his name on this. But basically, it's nothing scandalous or anything, but he was just talking about like, hey, this defense, man, we take a lot of pride when we're out there practicing. Yeah, we make it hard on the offense. We're going to make it really, really hard on the offense. And when the offense gets in games and goes against defenses like the Panthers, which is last year was not a good defense. I think they'll be a better defense this year. I don't know if they'll be a genuinely good defense, but they're going to be better than they were last year. It feels easy. It feels softer. It feels more manageable. So the whole iron sharpening iron thing, you've got a defense that they don't just compete on Sundays. They want to win every single rep of every single practice. So this offense, as they're installing it, has been going against a bunch of psychotic maniacs on defense. And I think it's made them tough. It's toughened them up. It's almost been like basic training for the offense, and I am here for it. So hopefully we'll get the All-22 before too long, but I'll go through the rest of the TV copy. I want to watch Blake Fisher because Blake Fisher, like we said, I think had a pretty clean slate today. I didn't notice anything while I was watching that was egregiously bad, and I saw some very positive things out of him. Might make things more interesting. We'll see how he plays in this next preseason game. And everybody have a great one until we meet again.